Inflation is an economic term that measures how much products and services you can buy for a certain amount of money. So it says, how much can you buy now compared to a year ago? So why are we hearing more about inflation now? Well, inflation has been rising for two reasons. One, there's a lot of demand as the world economy restarts again after a very slow period in COVID. So there's lots of demand for raw materials, all sorts of products, and that drives up the price. At the same time, last year, things were cheap as there was low demand for those same services in the middle of the COVID lockdowns. So together that means that the year-on-year increase is high. A bit of inflation is normal for an economy and not that harmful, but if it gets too high, it hurts productivity. So the government wants to keep it low and stable and has asked the Bank of England to control it for them. And it set them a target to keep it at around 2%. The Bank of England mainly does that by using interest rates. So how does the Bank of England use interest rates to control inflation? At the moment, in the last 2 years, interest rates have been very low. And as a result, its savings don't make a lot of money on it, and borrowing is relatively cheap for both companies and for consumers. So it is attractive to borrow more, save little, and therefore spend, and the economy grows and speeds up, and as a result, the price of goods goes up. Conversely, if interest rates were to rise, it becomes less attractive to borrow more and becomes more attractive to save. So there'll be less investment in the economy, it will grow less, and prices will stop rising fast. So where is inflation right now? Again, the consumer price index, which is the main measure of inflation, measures a typical basket of goods and services. That is, how much does that cost now compared to a year ago? Now, for the last 2 years, it's been around 1%. But in the last few months, it suddenly spiked. So in September was 3.2% year-on-year increase. And the last 2 months has been the largest increase in inflation that we've ever seen. So there's a lot going on right now. So what does that mean for interest rates? Well, the Bank of England has held interest rates at a very low 0.1% since the pandemic began, in an effort to keep the economy going. Now that inflation has spiked and may spike further, many economists are urging the Bank of England to raise rates, and that may happen soon. We don't know how high, we don't know how fast it will be, but it seems likely that it will go up. So what should you do? First of all, don't panic. Focus on the home that you want to live in, because that remains the most important thing. Rates will not rise overnight. There is a complicated mechanism for base rates translating into higher mortgage rates. So there could be a bit of time. But if you have the opportunity, make sure you get independent mortgage advice and get some expert advice on this big decision. And when you're getting a mortgage, now may be a good time to lock in a rate for longer and get less of that price uncertainty. So instead of 2 years, maybe go for a 5, 10 or even 25 years mortgage. But make sure you don't get locked in with very high exit fees or early redemption charges.